So the final question is two questions. One is from Vicky Byram Dennis. I hope I said that right, Vicky. Can you look into the future and give us a view of the role of small galleries post-pandemic for both artists and art lovers? I love this question. Will galleries increasingly rely on virtual presentations rather than in person? And then Tyler Burton asks, many galleries closed this year, including 3 that represented my work. I'm so sorry about that. I'm really sorry. That sucks. How do you see the future of galleries, and do you see the role of the artist in this relationship changing? These are both very similar questions in that, they're about the future, obviously, post-COVID. And, of course, nobody really knows, but I have to say that I'm actually really excited about the future, despite the gloom right now. Part of the gloom, I think, is people not knowing what the future is going to hold, because I think we all sort of realize that things are going to change dramatically. And that, I think, is part of the gloomy feeling, perhaps, about what's going to happen when things start opening up. I think it's true that smaller and mid-tier galleries are going to close. A lot of smaller mid-tier galleries, the majority of them were really barely making it before the pandemic. And after the pandemic, it's not, really a viable model in a lot of cases. That's a whole other subject to go into, but I'll kind of keep it at that. But as far as artists go, I think the future is super, super bright for artists. And here's why. Because the market was already getting disrupted, and now artists are going to be able to move forward without having to be tied to the gallery system, which they might not want to be anymore. I think art fairs are going to explode after COVID, because I think that art fairs, people are going to want to get out, they're going to want to travel. It's an incredible opportunity for artists. It's super expensive, but artists can get together in collectives. They can, split a booth with 2, 3, 4, 5 or more artists. Maybe, have a theme that you're doing it on. Maybe each have a wall. There's so many opportunities, but that's going to be the best way for people to get their art in front of buyers and in front of gallerists and in front of, just in general, the art market. And I think with that shift, as more galleries, smaller galleries, who are usually the ones who bring on emerging artists, as they close down, more art fairs are either going to crop up that cater to artists, or galleries that are already, art fairs that are already in place are going to be taking on more artists and allowing more artists into the fairs, because there's not going to be that many galleries to sell to. So they're going to have to open up the fairs to artists, which is fantastic. And it's going to be, there's going to be more direct to consumer sales by artists. There's not going to be the middleman of the gallery. And that's going to become the norm. That's going to become more and more the norm. So this idea of like having to get a gallery to, to make sales or to have credibility that's going to like diminish, I think. That's really going to start disappearing. People, time and time again, I've seen people really want to buy from artists. They really do. I think this idea of like you've made it, or you're really good if you get that stamp of approval from a gallery, I think that sort of idea is going to really dissipate as time goes on, simply because there's just not going to be as many galleries around anymore. But I think that there's going to be more platforms for nurturing artists' careers and for selling art. I think that artist managers, talent agencies that are like artist agencies, and new online portals or different types of platforms for artists to sell art that isn't going to be like this huge massive sea like the way Saatchi is, or Instagram. I think there's going to be, more refined apps and websites and things like that. But I really think that the future is going to be talent agencies in a sense, but for artists. So they either work on a commission or they work on a flat rate where they're promoting artists, helping them get their work out there and promote them. There's talent agencies now, you guys know, for like actors, comedians, writers, things like that. And a lot of them, like United Talent, actually has a fine art wing. And they work with a lot of corporations and do sort of, promotional things with fine artists, events, and things like that. And I think that that's going to be sort of the new galleries moving forward that take on emerging artists and help nurture their careers. So I think that's super exciting. I think that that sort of wall that I think everybody kind of hates of this, who and, you got into this gallery and this kind of thing is really going to kind of fade away because it's stupid. And I hate it. I hate it myself. I really don't like it. It's going to be more okay and acceptable and honorable and even prestigious to not be with a gallery, to sell your work on your own. You're not going to need that stamp of approval for credibility moving forward. And I think that the pandemic is going to push that even faster into reality. So yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say. It's almost an hour on the nose. And I am going to there were so many questions that I got that I decided I was going to put most of them or a lot of them up on my website. And also I was going to be doing more of them on Tough on Art. So listen for your question that you submitted on one of those formats. On my website, I'm going to, not right now, but in a few weeks, I'll have more of the questions up there with answers that you can check out. And then you can also please subscribe to Tough on Art, and more questions will be answered on there. So thank you guys so much. I love doing this. I love hanging out with you guys. I got to show you my cool new flowers, and I hope I answered some more questions and cleared up some stuff. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. Stay safe and enjoy your week. Thanks so much for being here.